Hey, welcome back to Russ Order Garage. I just finished up the fuel system on this thing, so we're getting closer to starting it up. But another OSA donor popped up that I picked up. So let me show you what I got this time. All right, here we go. You know I like my Jaguar donor cars. Well, here's another one. XJS. This is an older one. 1978. Originally V12. Not anymore. Now she's got the Corvette, supposedly 350 in it, as you know, every 350 is from a Corvette. Corvette 350, and the other thing was supposedly built to 400 horsepower. Okay, yeah, all right, I'll believe it. I don't believe it, but anyway, it's got supposedly also a turbo 400 short tail in it. And the last time it ran was, you guys said, about 3 years ago. Will it start now? I guess I'm going to find out. So, a couple ways to identify small block Chevy. Suffix code stamped on the front pad in front of the passenger side head, and the casting number of the block on the driver's side rear. Those two things will usually give you an idea of what you have. At least for older engines, you know, the newer 350s and such, they'll have 5.0 or 5.7 if it's a 350 stamped right in the back of the casting. They're cast into the block. This is not going to be that way. It's an older engine. So, first thing, suffix code on the front pad there is CMC. CMC. Well, first thing, the first letter being a C tells you this is a passenger car engine. It's not a truck. It would start with T if it was a truck engine. Then you look up the MC, and CMC is either a 1974 350 or a 1980 305. Now, how do you tell that what it really is? Well, first thing, the casting number on the back of the block, this is an 010 block. So this is a 350. 010 does not mean 4-bolt mains. It just means it's a 4-inch bore block. So it's a 350. Now, could this be out of a 74 Corvette? Yes, because the code is actually 350 with a manual transmission. It doesn't say anything as far as what it came out of. Let me see what this says here. Actually, you know what? This chart does. This chart says, is this listing the body style? Yeah, the body or comments for CMC is listed as A, F, or X. So that's A body, that's Chevelle. F, that's F body, that's, you know, Camaro or Firebird. And X is Nova. So, is this a Corvette engine? No, it's not. And for a 1974 engine, would I care that it's a Corvette engine? Absolutely not, because by 74, everything was pretty much a slug. And one thing I can see right away, and I haven't touched this engine, I just got this car home yesterday. This was already loose. EGR. That started in 1973. So this could be a complete as-removed engines. Now, I'm not a Corvette guy. I don't know if ram's horns manifolds were still used in 74 Corvettes. For me, that's something I would normally see, you know, 68 to 72. I don't know if Corvettes used them or not. They may have just put them in here to make this fit in the Jag. But regardless, I want to try to start this thing. And first we'll just give it a little overview and see what's here. So like I said, I have not looked at this thing. I've not done anything with this car. There's a lot of 1980s and 90s Summit Racing goodness here. We have the Excel plug wires, and I have an Excel coil hanging over here on the side with a ballast resistor tied up, which is kind of strange because ballast resistor is usually only used for points, and I do not know what kind of distributor this is. This has an Allison electronic ignition box on the inner fender well. Yeah, and that runs over to the distributor, and I have never seen anything like that. But regardless, I don't know if it works. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We'll see if it has spark. The throttle is stuck. The carburetor is stuck. So that needs to be addressed. This all looks factory, except for the mouse house here and everything. It's got factory heat riser for the choke pull off. This all looks like this engine may have been a complete pull out from whatever it was originally. So it's probably stock. It's probably 250 horsepower, nothing special, but still a great engine to use in whatever. So I'm going to get the vacuum and clean this up so I don't make a total mess of it if it does start, and I don't blow crap all over the place. And I guess we'll see what happens here. So I think I'm just going to spray the linkage down and see if I can get it freed up. I know there's oil in it. I checked the oil, and whether I can get the linkage freed up or not, I'm going to dump some gas down it. But first we'll put a battery in it, obviously, and make sure it turns over. I don't know if there's coolant in it. I really don't care. I just want to see if it runs. I don't know if the fuel pump's any good. I don't know how old the gas is in this thing. But whatever. I'm going to try to fire it up as is. So let me get the carburetor sprayed down and go from there. I don't have any carb cleaner, but brake clean will do. Just see if we can get this to shock loose at all. Does not seem happy. I think we'll pull that carburetor. That was loose. Well, let's see here. It's a little scummy. Under there, but not rusty. We're going to put a battery on it, make sure it turns over, dump some gas in it, and if it fires, I'll come back and mess with more of this. All right, I'm going to hit the key and see if it turns over. Here goes nothing. All right, it turns over. Let's see if we got spark. I haven't worked on an old car in so long. We got a distributor. I'm gonna set this somewhere by metal. Turn it over, see if we got sparkies. Let's see. I do not see spark. I do not see spark coming out of that. And I wonder if that's why this car was parked. And this crazy Allison ignition system that I know nothing about may be a problem. I don't think it's points, but I'll pop the cap off and see what it looks like. I just don't know what this is, if it's using points to trigger something, or it's like an aftermarket module. What do we got? Yeah, that's a That's an aftermarket module. So this stuff's all brand new. This has never been ran. This cap is brand new. This rotor is brand new. This thing has not been run. I have a feeling that's what the problem is. This engine lost spark. It's got regular points, you know, style or HEI style advanced mechanism on it, but that's a well, that's interesting. It's just a magnetic trigger, or actually it's an optical trigger with a window to make or break the signal. That's different. So I think there's a problem with this engine, and that's why this got parked. It's got no sparkies. All right, so first problem I got, just checking for voltage at the coil, and I have none. And behind one of these tie wraps, I just found that the ballast resistor is pretty much broken in half from sitting. I don't know how long it's sitting here, but it basically rotted. And I do not have any. So I'm gonna bypass it. Yeah, that thing's broken. I'm gonna bypass it and see if we get spark. I don't really care if I burn up the coil. I don't think I'm gonna run it that long to do that. But this ignition system, I will definitely not be keeping, just because it's some aftermarket thing that I don't care about. And if I run this engine, I'm gonna put an HEI on it. So I'm gonna tie these wires together and see what happens. All right, there's my ballast resistor. You can see it's broken inside there. So that's no good. So I got the wires tied together. See if it does anything. Still don't know if it will, because this ignition system said this is unknown, and obviously it was having problems if they had put a new cap and rotor in it. We got sparkies. All right. We got spark and a lot of it, so that is good. So that was just a dead ballast resistor there. Common problem. Now, let's just dump some gas down the carb and see what it does. Let's see here. I'm sorry if the phone is shaking here. I have it leaned up on the tripod against the trailer, so it's kind of moving around. Hope it isn't making everybody sick. So let's see what happens here. I'm gonna try to get some down the vent and fill the float bowl. Yeah, that's not working very well. Easier with a little squeeze bottle or something, but we're not doing that. I don't even know if this fuel is gonna make it past the throttle blades because they're stuck closed. But we'll see what happens. So I know there's oil in the engine. It turns over. I don't see anything obviously broken. I don't care if the fuel coming from the tank is crap or not, because this carburetor needs to be going through regardless. I'm not worried about it. So let's see if we get lucky and she fires off. All right, here we go. And if it starts, I'll let it run if I can. She wants to go. All right. right, she's just out of gas. Let's try it again. Yeah, she just needs gas. She's gonna start. Dump some more down here. Just sucks because I can't work the accelerator. That's plenty. Can't work the accelerator pump. Let's just see if it starts. Runs for a minute. I want to see if I got oil pressure or not. Got oil pressure. We got no starty now. Let's see. We're gonna need more gas. Yeah, we got to get some way to get gas in this thing. All right, it wants to start, but I got to do something with this carburetor. I got to get it so I can get some gas into this thing, and then I'm sure it will run. So I'm going to pull the carb off and see if I can get it, at least get the throttle unstuck. I'm sure it's just either gummed up from sitting. I don't think it's rusty, but I could try a little heat on it right on the car. Maybe I could try that and see if it breaks free, but I don't want to blow the thing up either now that it's covered with gas. All right, I got it. It's just gummed up from either old gas or whatever, but I got the front linkage broken free. The other thing that was weird is they had a spring on the secondaries, which was pretty much keeping the secondaries from coming on. I don't know why you would do that. But it looks like she's free now. We'll put her back together and see if she runs, except for I broke that. Old vacuum line. We'll have to get a cap for that. PCV and take that off. All right, I've run into one problem. Woo. Somehow, when working on the carburetor, I lost my ignition key for the starter, and I think I knocked some wires off some relays over here, and I don't know how they go back together. So now I just put a hot wire for the ignition. I have the starter wire. I figured out where that was, and I'm gonna hot wire that. And now we're gonna see what happens with the carburetor freed up. That should be ignition. Almost. She runs. Let's see if we can get some more gas in it. All right, let's try again. Come on. Hoping I get some gas pumped up, but the gas is probably garbage that's in it. But I'm going to keep running it and see if I can get it to idle. Now, I'm going to try this one last time because the battery's getting weak, and just don't know if it's worth spending too much time on this. I can see my fuel pump is leaking, so it's not going to run off the tank. All right, I think that's as good as it's going to get. The engine runs. I've got a little bit of a lifter, a little bit of a lifter tap, but that's to be expected after sitting for years. Once it gets oil pressure up, it'll be good to go. But at least the lower end sounds okay. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a good engine. I really wanted to drive it off of the trailer, but it's not worth my time to mess around with it because I'm not pulling the engine right now. But pull it at another time and maybe we'll run it on the stand. All right, well, unfortunately, I didn't get to drive it off the trailer, which was the goal. But, you know, at least we got it running. Albeit not a whole lot, but enough to tell the engine's good. It needs to run a bit to get the oil pressure up, but it's not worth my time right now to put a fuel pump in it and get it running off of a tank or anything, because it's going to sit until I'm ready to pull the engine out of this thing. I'm just going to park it in the back. So maybe at that time, you know, get the engine out, put it on a stand, or maybe we'll put a fuel pump in it then and take care of it then. But for now, I think the engine's fine. Didn't have any lower end knocking, and that's all that matters. So good to go. Just another Jag for parts. All right, it is a few days later. I just want to say that I did not give up that easily on the Jag. I did put a fuel pump in it the next day. After that, I couldn't just let it go because I wanted to see if it would actually drive off the trailer. But it wasn't to be. That carburetor needs a rebuild. It has no pump shot. The accelerator pump's not working, and I think it's basically so gummed up that no fuel is getting into the carburetor. The pump pushes fuel to it, but it's not getting through the blocks into the engine. So carb needs a rebuild. No big deal. I stashed the car in the back, and I'll deal with that engine another time. So we're going to get back to the 56 Chevy pickup. It is about time to start wiring. I wanted to say, if you didn't see my short that I put up about the indestructible cutoff wheels, don't bother wasting your money on them. I didn't send them back because I'm going to try them to cut some rubber pieces for cushions for the bed mounts. But as far as on steel, forget it. They're garbage. And the other thing I wanted to say is, where's my list? Where's my list? If you hadn't seen my list, I was taking a little poll on what you think the next build should be, because I'm already thinking about the next one, of course, right? And on my list, I just picked 3 random cars that I have here. So one was a 71 Nova, one is a 56 Bentley, and one is a 61 AMC Rambler wagon, or of course, dealer choice, where I ignore you all and pick what I want, which could be something else that's not even on the list, or I could just ignore you all anyway. But, you know, I'm keeping track of the votes, and I'll let you know how it comes out in the end. So see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. We'll see you back on the 56 Chevy truck build. Later.